right, cool. Let me leave a little bit of
Okay.
space. Brianna Marie Turner, aka BMT. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So where are you coming to us from?
I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Awesome. But you're a Memphis girl originally, right? Or actually,
Yes.
tell me that story. We were just talking about that. It's kind of a crazy story.
So we lived in Tennessee. My dad was stationed there at the time, but there was a really bad thunderstorm and the power was completely out. So we had to drive all the way to Memphis, and the power there was even out too. But it was like my mom was like, "Well, I got to give birth,"
It's
so
got to happen somewhere. Yeah,
they had the
exactly.
hospital like running on like a backup generator, and that I was born in Memphis.
So you made your debut in Memphis. There you go.
Yes, one way or another.
Wow, that's a crazy story. So, so
Yeah.
you have a great song out, called Vertigo, and the video is awesome too. I love the video; it's really fun.
Oh, thank you.
So tell me about. Let's talk about that song and how that came about. And also, before we get there, I want to talk about how you got into music because I think you kind of came from a musical family originally, right?
Yes. So I grew up like from the time I was born. My whole family, plays music, sings music. So like every family get together that we had, it was like a full blown concert. Like I'm talking like
Like a
100
jamboree.
people, yeah, and like everybody's taking turns getting up there performing and just like jamming and stuff. And so I started like I couldn't even talk yet, but I wanted to get up there, so they'd let me get up there, and I would just jibber jabber on the mic and not even be
Funny.
saying words,
Yeah, you're just like, I
dancing
don't
and
care. I'm
stuff
on
like that.
stage. Right.
Yeah, so and like most of my family, like in Tennessee and Kentucky, like they all like perform and like do
Mhm.
music and stuff, like they always have. So like it was like really good, like a full concert. So yeah, I grew up like that's what really like started me, wanting to be on stage and be a performer and stuff like that. And then after that, like when I started school, I started, performing in choir, and I did that all the way up until high school and did show choir and like
So kind of like
talent
the whole
shows.
Glee
Any
experience.
opportunity that I had to get on the stage, I was getting on the stage pretty
Yeah,
much.
that's awesome. That's great.
And then I also taught, like, we had our church choir, and I performed in that for a long time. And then, like, when I got older, I started helping out with the youth classes, and
Yeah,
I would
okay.
help out with like the music aspect of that and stuff, like helping teach the songs that they, get on stage and perform and stuff. So I, that was really cool. But yeah, so and then after that, I just continued to pursue it. It's kind of like all I ever wanted to do.
Yeah, so you're kind of like living, breathing. That's kind of my story too.
Yeah,
I'm a musician. I grew up same thing. Like, and once that really grabs you, it kind of like takes control of your soul in a way. Do you find that?
absolutely. It's like medicine for your soul.
Exactly. Yeah. So tell me about songwriting because this song is very story driven, and I think, and from what I was reading, kind of like all your music has sort of been that way. Tell me, how did you develop that style, and who were some of your early influences?
For me, I started out writing poetry, and I just sang, but
Mm.
poetry eventually became music. And it's actually funny because I didn't like show my poetry or anything, and my mom found it and she read it, and I was like, that's like my diary, like
That's my
like why would
soul.
you read that? Yeah. And she's like,
Funny.
it's really good though, like I like it, you know what I mean? And like that kind of like pushed me to like start pursuing it more, and then it led into songwriting. So
Mhm.
that's probably why you hear a lot of like the whole like story, a story behind the songs.
Right.
With Vertigo specifically, it was actually crazy. That song, so my manager actually experienced vertigo, and he's great now, thankfully.
Yeah.
But it inspired us to make a song that's about, like like you're drunk and like everything's spinning and stuff, and you
Yeah.
can't
We've all
get
been
to
there.
stop. Yeah, right. So it's
Excuse me.
crazy that like something bad, like we turned it into something good, and like
Right.
that ended up being my like debut single. So that was pretty crazy too. So that's like based on a real story.
It's true to life. How did you develop your style? Because you have kind of a rockabilly vintage kind of thing going on. Who are some people that kind of inspired that look and the vibe for you?
Definitely Amy Winehouse for sure. Love her.
Mm.
Um, Honestly, like I think it had a lot to do with like how I was brought up. Because like my grandparents, like they like rode motorcycles, and then like I had like the country influences, you know, and music, and like, and all of my family owned like car dealerships and collected vintage cars. So it's
Oh,
like
okay.
it
Wow,
all,
great.
like every aspect of my life is the definition of like rockabilly, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I love like the 50s, like fashion, and you know, just like everything from the 50s, like the whole like aesthetic of it. So then I really got into like the whole like, you know, pinup and like 50s like style, and it just kind of all came together, and that it made me.
What was like when you grew up in Indiana? Was that kind of that vibe there? Were your friends kind of or was that kind of a big thing in that culture where you grew up? Or how did you get that kind of beyond just the car stuff? How did you get exposed to that?
Well, like where I'm from, like Muncie, it's more like kind of like
Oh, okay.
grunge punk rock like type, like
Yeah, there's a deep music history back in that area for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, so it was more like kind of like rock, grunge, punk, like that like scene, you
Mhm.
know, which also kind of like plays into, you know, who I am, and you know what I mean, like my music and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind
But
of a
yeah,
mixture of different things. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So tell me about you. You've actually, and we were talking a little bit about this before we started, but you've opened for a lot of really major acts. You were on tour with Machine Gun Kelly. You've had collaborations with Will.I.am, the Black Eyed Peas, Lady Gaga, Darius Rucker, a bunch of different things.
Mhm.
How did you get into that? And was how when you first started doing those kinds of shows, was it very intimidating, or how did you deal with that?
It was definitely intimidating at first. It was like that, like excited, like adrenaline rush. You know what I mean? Like, because like I'm from a really small town, so like
Right.
doing something like that was like crazy. Um, but like on tour with MGK, like I remember like the first show, I was like behind stage, and I was like I was shaking, like my knees were literally like
Right.
shaking, and it was like, and they were the whole time I performed too. Like it was crazy, but it was like it was the biggest rush of my life. Like from the time that I got on the stage till the time that I got off, like it was like nothing that I'd ever experienced before. And there was one point in the show where it was like our final song, so it was like a big song. Um, there was a part where every all the fans put up their phones or like the lighter or something, and it was like at that moment, because you know, like when you're on stage you have all the lights in your face, you can't really see like super far out,
Right. Right.
but at that moment everybody, you saw like each individual, and like I was like trying not to
Like,
cry.
holy Jesus, what's just happened?
Yes, like this is crazy, but yeah,
Right.
so
Yeah.
it was definitely like a huge change from having like done like a lot of like hole in the wall, like, you know, venues and stuff like that, which I love that intimacy of those type of venues, but like the feeling of like getting on a stage where you like don't even know how many people are out there, you know what I mean, like
Mm.
like it's sold out shows and stuff in huge arenas, like it's like life changing for sure, like it was crazy.
Yeah, and the challenging thing with the opening act, doing that as for especially for big artists, is they have very loyal fans that love them. So
Oh
you've got
yeah,
to figure out a way to reach those people and make them like you as well.
absolutely.
Because at first their thought is get this person off the stage so I can see my artist.
Right.
So
We're,
so
we're
how
here for
did you
this person.
exactly? So how did you mentally like kind of figure out a way to navigate that?
Well, I think the big thing, like with the MGK tour specifically, that was like our music, like it already kind of complemented his,
Hmm.
and it just like fit in really well, and like that was, you know, our team's like placement, like they did that, like they knew, you know, putting us there
So it
would
was kind of a
be.
good marriage in a way of
Yes,
acts.
exactly.
And yeah.
So it put us in a place where we didn't really have to do much to
Hmm.
like get them on board with it. It was just, it automatically kind of went hand in hand, because again, like with MGK, it's like very like punk rock, like you know what I mean, like that whole like style, and that's
Right.
like very
Which
much what
kind of
we're
rubs up
doing
against like the rockabilly vintage vibe.
for
Punk rock
sure.
is very it's right there in the same
I
family, right?
know, and I love to see it coming back.
Yeah, yeah.
For
Because I
sure,
grew
like
up
the rockabilly specifically, like I'm like yes, more and more.
yeah, I was an Orange County kid and in the 80s and the
Oh
late
really?
70s. So I was like right in the middle of that punk. I met Johnny Rotten, I met like the suicidal tendencies, all those guys were happening right when I was growing up. So
Wow.
yeah, so it was kind of, and it was funny because I'm like, I was in Huntington Beach and I knew I was kind of very lucky, but as I got older, I realized I was very lucky to be in that area.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
we're up
Even
in,
your shirt right now is kind of rockabilly.
yeah, this is my secondhand store shirt.
Oh,
But
even better.
right, exactly, vintage. Um, but yeah, that I guess my heart always kind of goes back to the rockabilly vibe, and I love that. And actually, in Vegas, it's still a really big thing too. There's a lot of great acts. But
Oh really? I haven't been out there in a while. I need to get back out there.
yeah, you should. There's a lot of good clubs that actually places you probably enjoy playing. So you actually, my understanding is you have a project coming up with Darius Rucker. Is that correct?
Yes, we've collaborated on a couple songs together, and I've known him for a while. He's a great guy.
I know he's a
We've
sweet guy.
done.
Yeah.
Oh, you've met him?
I met him at in rehearsals up in North Hollywood before. He was doing
Oh,
his
really?
country thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's so sweet.
We were there with Miley.
Um,
We were there with Miley. I was doing production, but
oh, cool.
yeah.
But yeah, I met him like with my team, and it just like we instantly hit it off, and we did
Mhm.
our first song together, and then just recently we've done another one too. So very excited about those. Like, can't wait to release them. But he's for me, like that is like because like I've opened for people and like you know what I mean, like stuff like that. But like that was
Right.
like the first like big artist that I've like
You're collabing
collaborated
with.
with.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So like that was really cool. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like this is happening.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You have a cool thing and you have a unique voice, which I think is it's rare. I'm sure you know this too, but like you hear somebody like a Dolly or you hear somebody like a Willie Nelson and you instantly know it's them. And you have that same kind of voice. You have a very
Oh, thank
specific, unique
you. I
voice. Yeah, and
appreciate
it's
that.
a rare thing, I think.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But
Yeah,
you
love
mentioned,
Dolly.
yeah, I know, I
So
do too.
that's a big compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love Dolly? So
Exactly.
you mentioned team a couple of times, and that's something that I've really found a common thread among successful artists is building a solid team. Can you talk a little bit about that and your team, your management, all that kind of thing, how they've helped you be successful?
Absolutely. The teamwork makes the dream work. Like I couldn't do it without them. I have like a really solid group of people behind me, and like my manager Charles Farrar. He is I call him a mad music genius because he comes up with like the craziest ideas, and like he's just constantly like his head like is just like with like music and ideas, and like he you know what I
Mm.
mean, like he lives and breathes it, and it reflects on to like what we do. So like every time that him and I like we talk all day every day because we're just bouncing ideas back and forth, like like you should listen to this song and this part you like, you know what I mean, like so
Yeah, it's
for
having
me.
the passion for it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And like for me, like I feel super blessed to have that. You know what I mean? Because you can have a manager, you can have a team and stuff, but like to have like a team that like you're on the same page, and like you're so passionate and creative about what you're doing, that like it consumes you, and you're like I said, talking about it every day and constantly like just brainstorming pretty much. Like I'm super grateful for that. So yeah, it's definitely, and it's a whole team of people that do different things, and like I can sing and engineer myself and songwrite and like stuff like that, but like there's so many aspects that I can't do. You know what I mean? Like that they
Mm.
can, and that's what makes it possible to really take it to the next level, is when you have people that are all doing separate things, but it comes together collectively to move forward. So I love them.
Yeah, and you really need that because especially as an indie artist or a touring artist, it's there's just so much to do and it can be overwhelming for people that are
Yeah, for
trying
sure.
out there trying to do all that by themselves. Talk a little bit about collaboration because not only with songwriting but production and that kind of thing. How important has that been for you?
Very, because I can't produce. I
Well,
can engineer myself now, but like I can't produce, and like that's a whole nother level, and that really, like, a lot of the times like the beat is given to me and then I write on it, you know what I mean? But without
right,
that
right.
beat, like, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
just me singing a cappella.
yeah, it's kind of like a little push to get you going
Mm,
and yeah.
for sure. And again, like with like our team, like there's like multiple producers, so it's like we're like every beat's gonna be different, you know what I mean, because everybody has their own creative sound and process and stuff. So, and I love that because like I don't ever want to be like put in a box, like you have to be this or this genre wise and stuff. Like
Right.
I want to be able to like, because I'm inspired by so many different genres, that I want to be able to creatively like express that through music. So like, and my team like completely on board with that, and like they are, you know what I mean, like able to make that happen for me, like with the production. And like I can be like, hey, like I want to do a rockabilly song, you know what I mean, or a country pop song, like whatever. Like I'm where I'm at, like they're able to produce that for me, so I'm able to make this music, you know.
Yeah, it helps you execute the vision, which is important, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think too with you, because it's not only about just music, it's the look, it's the vibe. So having that kind of whole collaborative team working with you is probably very important. You can really see that in your music video, like that it's a really strong look, it's well done, it's quality done.
Thank you.
Vibe, you know. So I think that that's super important for what you're doing. Do you find that that's true? Just the whole package in general.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you can like I could put out music, but like without like it's a whole brand. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like really what we're pushing. Like, it's not just the music. Like, it's a full concept. You know what I mean? Like from the like fashion aspect to the music aspect to the visual aspect. Like it's all like one package deal. That's like this is who I am. You know?
Yeah. And it's the world we live in too, because you got to reach people on multiple levels,
Oh yeah,
musically,
for sure.
streaming, visually, the social, and all that's got to kind of work together to get there, I think. Do you have any live shows coming up or touring plans, or where are you at with that?
We have some exciting stuff coming up. I can't really say yet.
Oh, come on.
I can't. But it like we definitely have some big shows coming up here very soon.
Awesome. And
So hopefully.
how can, yeah, I know. I'm like, now you get me curious. So tell me, how can people find you online and down the road when you do release dates? How you have a website and you have social media, of course, but
Yes. So on all social media, I am the official BMT, and then on like Spotify and iTunes, it's just BMT,
hmm.
and that's so everything official BMT.
Okay. Well,
Follow
you know
me.
what? That's good though. It keeps it simple, which is that's important. But
Yeah, that was like the main thing. I was like trying to figure out like how can I get like all of, you know, my names to be the same, because then you're like
I know,
on
yeah,
Instagram I'm
it's
this,
hard
on
to do
TikTok
that.
I'm this, and I'm like I so like that's what we ended up with, the official
Yeah.
BMT. So
I
we
always
got the
gotta say
same one on all of them. We got lucky.
it's sort of like Pepsi. You want it to be Pepsi everywhere, not just a different name for
Right,
each flavor. Yeah, I know.
exactly.
Exactly. I get it. Um, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And I should ask you too quickly. What's some advice that you could give young artists? Because you've been in the trenches doing it. Like you mentioned, you started doing clubs at small places at first and then built your way up. What are a couple of important points that you learned that maybe you could let younger artists know?
The little shows matter. Like take all of the smaller shows, like do perform them. You know, you don't, even if you're not getting paid, like do those shows, because that like you never know who's going to be at that show. You know what I mean? Like or who they know, or and they show your music to, and like that is it takes you like from one place, like it's like little stepping stones, you know. So like you go here and then you to the next one, to the next one. Like for instance, when I met my first manager who worked for Universal Records, he I met him at a show. Like it was a benefit in my hometown
Hmm.
for a little girl who had passed away, and we were there performing, and he was there. Like if we wouldn't have done that show, then we wouldn't have met him, and then that led me, you know, all the way to where I am now. Like I wouldn't be
Right.
here if I haven't done all those shows. You know what I mean? So like some people, I think like with artists, they'll be like, oh, like you know, I don't want to do that show because they're not going to pay me. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like that's not what it's about. It's about the stepping stones to like where you can go. You know.
Yeah.
So
Worry about
that'd
the
probably
art.
be it.
Yeah, that's important advice because I've always said there could be maybe three people in the audience, but that one person of the three could change your life. You never
Absolutely.
know.
Or just you have like a friend or follower forever. You know what I mean? Like just because of that one show that you did. So it's
Yeah.
definitely like important for sure.
Yeah, that's really good advice, and I think it's important for it to come from you because you've lived it. You've actually came out the other end very successful, which is great.
Yeah, it's been a long road, but we're getting there.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I
I
like I
know.
said, it feels like from where I started to like where I am now, like I'm able, like I have my own studio, I'm able to like record myself, like you know what I mean. Like before, like there was literally a time I had a microphone taped to a broomstick
We've all been
in
there.
the barn, in my barn.
Okay, maybe I didn't have a barn, but yeah.
And it was like so hot. It was like middle of summer, like and we were in this like little area. I was like, it was crazy. But yeah, like that's the trenches. You know what I mean? Like that's where
Yeah,
like I go from that, like where I was like duct taping a microphone in a barn to like now I have my own studio. Like I'm able to, you know what I mean? So like
yeah.
where you start from does not determine where you're going to end up, for sure.
Yeah, the most important thing is to take the first step, and then
Yeah,
you never know where that can lead. Um,
exactly.
but yeah, that's awesome. And thank you so much for joining me. I know you're very busy, but I
Well,
appreciate
thanks
hearing
for
your.
having me. I appreciate it. It was nice
Yeah,
to
I
meet you.
appreciate. I love your story, and your music's great. The video's great. So I encourage everybody to check it out. Check out Vertigo on YouTube and also on streaming with Spotify. It's there as well with all of your links, and I'll include your links as well in the podcast description when we
Sweet.
release it.
Okay.
And but thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it, Brianna.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
You're very welcome. Have a great day.
it. You too.